You think she's moved on. You assume she doesn't care. Days, maybe weeks have passed, and she hasn't reached out. Silence fills the space where words once flowed effortlessly. But what if I told you she's waiting, watching, hoping, yet despite all of that, she will never make the first move? Why? It's not because she's over you. It's not because she's forgotten you. No, this is something far more complex, something hidden beneath layers of emotion, psychology, and unspoken expectations. You see, when someone holds back from reaching out, it's rarely because they don't care. It's often the opposite. Welcome back to Mindful Stoicism. Today we're diving deep into why she won't text, why she won't call, and why, no matter how much she might want to, she won't be the one to break the silence. And if you don't understand this, you'll make one of two mistakes. You'll either chase when you shouldn't, surrendering your power in the process, or you'll assume she no longer thinks about you, leading you to walk away from something that was never truly lost. The truth is, human nature is far more complicated than we like to admit. Sometimes silence doesn't mean indifference. It means fear, pride, or even a silent test of who holds more emotional strength. By the end of this video, you'll understand the real reason she won't reach out. You'll see the situation for what it truly is, not what your emotions are making it seem. And most importantly, you'll learn what to do next. Stay with me. This might just change the way you see everything. Well, she wants to see if you'll break first. She's not reaching out, not because she doesn't care, but because she's waiting. Waiting to see if you will be the one who caves first. To her, this silence isn't just an absence of words. It's a test of who values the connection more, who is more emotionally invested, and ultimately, who holds more power. You see, when a woman cares about you but refuses to make the first move, she's observing. She's watching to see if you'll be the one to fold, if you'll let your emotions take control, and if you'll reach out just to ease your own discomfort. Because the moment you do, she knows something critical. You still think about her, and that knowledge gives her the upper hand. It's not about being manipulative. It's about understanding human nature. In psychology, this is often referred to as interpersonal power dynamics. The person who reaches out first reveals more emotional vulnerability, and whether consciously or subconsciously, she knows this. If she texts first, she risks exposing her feelings. But if you text first, she gets confirmation that you're still attached. Stoicism teaches us that control over emotions dictates control over our lives. The more reactive you are, the more you surrender your inner strength. She may not even realize she's playing this game, but make no mistake, the game is happening. So, what should you do? Understand that this is not about winning or losing. It's about self-control. If you genuinely want to reach out, do it from a place of strength, not neediness. But if you're doing it just to relieve tension, stop. Because in the battle of silence, the one who stays composed holds the real power. 2. She's afraid of rejection. No matter how confident or independent she appears, rejection is a pain no one wants to face. It's not just about ego, it's about self-preservation. When a person reaches out, they're making themselves vulnerable, exposing their emotions, and risking the possibility of being ignored, dismissed, or met with indifference. And that That can feel worse than never reaching out at all. She wonders, what if he doesn't respond? What if he's moved on? What if he only sees me as an option now? These thoughts swirl in her mind, holding her back. It's not that she doesn't want to text you, it's that the fear of an unanswered message is stronger than her desire to reconnect. The human brain is wired to avoid pain, and emotional pain often leaves deeper scars than physical wounds. Rejection isn't just about a single unanswered text, it's about what it represents. It tells her she miscalculated your feelings. It confirms that she no longer holds space in your world, and that reality can be brutal. So she does what most people do when they fear the worst. She hesitates. She waits, hoping you'll make the first move, so she doesn't have to face the possibility of rejection. And the longer she waits, the more she convinces herself that reaching out is a mistake. This is why so many connections fade away, not because the feelings disappeared, but because fear took over. If neither person is willing to break the silence, then silence becomes the answer. So ask yourself, is she truly over you, or is she just too afraid to find out that you might be over her? Her pride and ego hold her back. Pride is a powerful force. It shapes decisions, influences actions, and more often than not, keeps people from doing what they truly want to do. She might miss you. She might even think about texting you every single day. But there's something stopping her, her pride and ego. You see, in today's world, appearing unbothered is often seen as strength. Society tells us that the one who cares less holds the power, and she doesn't want to be the one who looks weak. She fears that reaching out first will make her seem desperate, needy, or emotionally dependent. And in her mind, that's the last thing she wants. Then there's ego, the silent force that whispers, if he cared, he'd reach out first. She tells herself that if you truly wanted her in your life, you would take action. She convinces herself that if she stays silent long enough, you will be the one to cave. But what she doesn't realize is that you might be thinking the exact same thing. Pride and ego create a standoff, two people waiting for the other to break, both fearing rejection, both afraid of appearing too invested. But here's the paradox. The longer she waits, the more she begins to question if you ever truly cared. And eventually, that silence starts to shift from a battle of willpower to a justification for moving on. If neither of you makes a move, the connection slowly fades, not because the feelings weren't real, but because pride stood in the way. And that's the tragedy of modern relationships. Too many emotions left unsaid, too many people mistaking silence for strength. So, the real question is, will you let pride decide the outcome, or will you choose clarity over control? For she thinks you don't care. At first, she was just waiting. She told herself, he'll reach out soon. She checked her phone more times than she'd like to admit, expecting to see your name pop up. But as the silence stretched longer, something shifted. Doubt crept in. She started wondering, maybe he's not thinking about me at all. Maybe he's already moved on, too busy with someone else, too focused on his own life to even remember her. And that thought stings, because whether she admits it or not, she wanted to believe she mattered to you, that she left an imprint on your mind, the way you did on hers. The longer you remain silent, the more she convinces herself that you don't care. And here's the irony, she may still care about you deeply, but pride won't let her be the one to reach out first. Why? Because she's afraid. Afraid that if she does, she'll be met with cold indifference. And indifference is more painful than anger. She doesn't want to feel like an afterthought. She doesn't want to text you and get a half-hearted response that confirms her worst fear, that she was never as important to you as you were to her. So instead of taking that risk, she buries the urge to reach out. She convinces herself that if you truly cared, you would have made the first move. And this is where many connections are lost, not because feelings disappeared, but because assumptions took their place. So the question is, will you let the silence speak for itself, or will you see through the illusion before it's too late? But what should you do? Now, you might be wondering, should you reach out? Should you break the silence and see if she still cares? Or should you wait and let her make the move? The answer isn't as simple as yes or no. It depends on why you're thinking of reaching out in the first place. If you're feeling anxious, afraid of losing her, or desperate for her attention, then you must stop yourself right now. Because if your emotions are driving you to act, then you're already losing control of the situation. Stoicism teaches us that power lies in detachment, not in clinging to outcomes, but in accepting reality as it is. If she truly values you, she will find a way to make her presence known. If she doesn't, then your silence has already given you the answer you need. However, if reaching out comes from a place of strength, if you genuinely want to reconnect without fear, without expectation, then there's no harm in sending a message. But here's the key. You must be prepared for any response, even silence. If she replies, great. If she doesn't, you must move forward without regret. Desperation repels. Confidence attracts. The moment you start chasing someone who isn't meeting you halfway, you give away your power. Instead of obsessing over whether to reach out, shift your focus, improve yourself, stay grounded. If she truly misses you, she will make an effort. If she doesn't, then your time is better spent on someone who will. At the end of the day, remember this. Real strength isn't about winning someone over. It's about being okay whether they come back or not. At the end of the day, silence speaks, and in that silence, you'll find the truth. If she truly values you, she will make it known eventually. But if not, then your silence is the answer you've been looking for. Let me know in the comments, have you ever been in this situation? And remember, true strength is in mastering your emotions, not letting them control you. If this video gave you clarity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos on Stoicism and relationships. Stay mindful, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.